Hello and welcome to WTF, where we help you transform food in your kitchen. I'm Janie.
And I'm Roman.
And on this channel, we talk about unique ingredients, techniques, and show you new recipes for your kitchen that you're not going to find anywhere else. And this week is no exception. So this week we are showing you a really different recipe for what we're calling a Dal-Dog. And if you don't know what dal is, it's a traditional Indian dish. It's made from lentils and spices that are kind of simmered, and it's rich, it's savory, it's hearty, it's affordable. It's a wonderful, wonderful comfort food. And we're like, we love dal, but what else can we do with it? Because, you know, if you eat dal all the time, it can get a little boring.
It does.
So Roman came up with a fantastic recipe for what we're calling a Dal-Dog. And today he's going to walk you step by step through how do you make this.
All right.
All right, let's first talk about how do you make dal to begin with for people. Some people may have never heard of what dal is.
So dal is a traditional Indian dish. It's kind of a stew almost. And it's pretty easy to make. It's based on lentils and then all the aromatics such as garam, cumin, coriander, paprika, turmeric, garlic, obviously, and onions. And it just makes this really wonderful, super aromatic stew that's delicious, tastes great. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go over that, but we're gonna, you know, do what we normally do and take an extra step, and we're gonna turn this into a hot dog, which is actually very, very cool. All right, so right here I have some dal that I've already made. And we're just gonna give this a quick stir to move it around a little bit, and that's just, like I said earlier, that's just the lentils. Normally dal is made with ghee, but in this case we did it today with coconut oil. That way we keep the whole thing vegan. So
it works just as well either way.
Either way. And you can also use your own dal recipe. Those of you who traditionally make dal or make it time, here and then, you can use the same recipe. The only thing I would suggest though is to keep the ratios the same, because you kind of want to keep everything at a certain viscosity, so when you're making the dog, it comes out consistent.
Okay.
All right.
So important note.
Exactly.
All
so
right.
let's go ahead and do that. Right here, I have burger binder, which is hydrated with water, and I have dal. And what we're going to do is we're going to mix this together.
Okay. And what burger binder is, if you're not familiar, it is a type of methicellulose that is specially formatted to be kind of like a super strength. And we use this a lot in our different plant-based recipes, and it's a wonderful binder, a wonderful thickener, and it's there's really not quite, we use it a lot in meat analogs, and I just wanted to kind of note, because I know we said hot dog, but today we are not making a meat analog. So the Dal-Dog is not intended to taste like a hot dog in any way. It's just kind of like a super fun, different presentation of this dish.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of just really what it's going to do is going to take the shape of a hot dog, and the burger binder is going to help give it that strength that you need to hold it all together. That's pretty much it. All right, so this is mixed. You don't need anything but a spatula or spoon to mix this all together, and then once you kind of have it thoroughly combined, usually about 1 to 2 minutes, we can go ahead and form our hot dog. Right here I have a piece of plastic wrap, and we're gonna go ahead and spoon some of the dal in here. In the recipe, it calls for about 100 grams of the dal burger binder mix. I'm not gonna weigh it right now, but you get the idea. So this is, once you have it on your piece of parchment paper, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna overlap this. It's kind of cool because it looks like a tortilla shell. Every time I make this, I'm always like, that looks like a tortilla shell. All right, and so once you have that, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna roll that over. Just like that.
Okay.
To make our dog, and we're just gonna tighten the ends up. And then over here I have a couple of pieces of twine, and so we'll do one end.
And it's kind of neat because as you're gonna see, so the reason why we like to use methicellulose in these types of recipes is because it's in addition to having super thick viscosity, it also has a very unique property of gelling when it's hot. So as you're heating up different things that are made with methicellulose, they're actually going to hold its shape, which is kind of what we're looking for here. Because as you can see, we just left it alone, it's gonna
Yep.
flop back out. We don't want
Exactly.
that.
So we got our shape here, and we're just going to tie this end. And we're going to bring this to a boil, and this is going to activate the methylcellulose in the mix, and it'll stiffen it right up, and then we'll freeze it, and then we'll boil it again. We do this because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the texture of a hot dog, and if you boil it just once, you won't exactly get that texture. It'll be still a little bit too soft. So we freeze it and we boil it the second time. That extracts a little bit more water out of it and tightens it up just a little bit more, but just enough where you get that hot dog texture and it's easier to dip into your corn dog batter also.
Okay, we're gonna come reset the table and come right back and see what some of this will look like.
All right, so we have our frozen dolls that were cooked one time. So we're gonna cook it the second time. We have our water boiling. We're gonna cook it for about 10 minutes. While this is cooking for the 10 minutes that's boiling, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make the corn batter. It's very important to let the corn batter sit for about 5 to 6 minutes, so it's perfect for this process. You know, as the dogs are cooking, we'll make the batter, we'll let it sit. Once those Dal-Dogs do come out, we can go right into that batter and make our corn dogs. All right, so we're just gonna drop these right into our boiling water for 10 minutes.
Okay.
So while that's happening, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make our corn batter. And in this batter, we have some flour, AP. We have cornmeal. Now this is a cornmeal that I actually blitzed again to make it a little bit more fine.
Okay. I was gonna say, it looks more floury than cornmeal-y.
And then we have our sugar. We have our baking powder. And we have our salt. And last but not least, we have our Versawhip. Now the Versawhip is gonna be really nice because what it's gonna do once that baking powder does its thing and it rises, the Versawhip is gonna help soften that whole thing out. So you're gonna get a really nice crispy outside crust, but super soft on the inside.
Ooh, which is like a perfect corn dog.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Versawhip is a modified soy protein. So for people out there who are thinking about what it is.
Yep. And as an alternative, you can also use, when I was, researching this recipe, you could also use like fava bean for this also.
The liquid or
the liquid.
Okay.
So if you happen to have that and you don't have Versawhip, you can also use that. I'll put an amendment in the recipe just in case that's an option.
Okay, cool. All right, so while Roman is finishing off making this, oh, actually, no, there's one more step. Just kidding. All right.
We're gonna add in, so this is our cashew milk, last ingredient, and we're just gonna whisk this up till it's combined.
And then you said this batter is going to sit 5 to 6 minutes while the
Dal-Dogs are finishing boiling, and then it'll go right into the batter and right into our fryer, and then right into our stomachs.
Okay. Well, while Roman's finishing that, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about this week's ingredient highlight, which is going to be the Druid's Grove burger binder. I almost said batter binder, but that's a different product. Burger binder. So burger binder, as I mentioned before, it's like a super special form of methylcellulose that is very uncommon because it has a really, really high gelling strength and is really great for a lot of different plant-based meat analogs. So we use them in our plant-based sausage, plant-based meats, our plant-based marbling fat, that's in a lot of things. I think we have plant-based bacon, plant-based hot dogs, etc., etc. And the reason why we love burger binder and all these kind of very plant-based recipes is because it gives your different vegetable proteins that stickiness that it really requires to hold its shape. So if you're like, when do I use this? One, plant-based analogs, but also two, any type of recipe where you're trying to hold a shape where the ingredients themselves don't have the necessary structure in order to do it.
Correct.
So check this out, modernistpantry.com, burger binder. Okay, that's it for me.
So another very important thing is to have a container that's going to be long enough that's going to be able to fit your entire hot dog. Because what you want to do after you screw it is you want to submerge the entire dog into whatever vessel you're going to use. So you want to make sure that that vessel is going to be long enough so that you can submerge the entire Dal-Dog in there. So this is what we're going to be using today for that. All right, we'll just have to wait for those dogs to be ready and we'll be ready to go.
Okay, we'll be right back with a friable dog.
All right, we are back and we are ready to make our Dal-Dogs.
Yes.
All right, so I just took these out of the boiling water. So we're going to cut these right open. As you can see, the water has really filled up in there, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to lose that.
Oh.
And texturally, you can see like how much
it looks
better
like a
it is.
little sausage.
It's like a little sausage.
A little yellow sausage. And it's interesting, so you may have noticed earlier that Roman did not, blitz this to kind of make it that smooth hot dog texture.
No.
And why is that?
On purpose, because you want that texture. The first couple ones I made, they were, it tasted like a hot dog, but it was missing something. So the next couple I did, I just decided, let me not blitz this, and the texture of it was incredible. It was great. You don't really, you really taste it, but you don't really get that grainy lentil that you think you're gonna get, which is why I blitzed it the first time. I'm not knowing that. All right, so we're gonna go right into skewering these bad boys. Okay, and then dip them right into this batter.
Oh.
Very close, but I've done this a few times. So
Okay,
I know what I'm doing.
That's a very exact measurement.
Yes, it is. And then you kind of want to spin that around, and we're just gonna hold that for a couple of seconds, just to kind of seal that outside, and then we'll just let it go into the fryer.
Okay. So if you had a deep fryer, you can just hold it and then drop it in, right?
Pretty much.
Okay. And how long are we frying this?
So we're gonna fry this for about 3 to 4 minutes. You're just looking for it to get golden brown. Everything is already cooked. Once you get that golden brown around the outside of it, you're pretty much ready to go.
Okay. It's time for the moment of truth. We are about to taste these corn Dal-Dogs.
And they look delicious.
All right,
by the way.
let's go for it. These are hot, so we are
Very hot.
We're risking our health here. Woo.
Very hot.
So good.
But delicious. Look at that.
Perfect batter. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. The inside, it's like a surprise because you're not expecting this kind of like turmeric, cumin flavors. It's savory, it's hearty, it's warm.
Yep. It's very nice texturally also. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's not. So I know we've been calling it a Dal-Dog, but you're not getting the snap of a hot dog.
No.
It's a very tender,
Exactly.
soft texture. But because we didn't blitz the lentils, they're still holding its own. This is so good.
This is very delicious, actually.
I love this because it's kind of like a surprise. It's healthy. It's hearty. It's vegetarian, vegan friendly for people who are looking for new recipes that you're just oh, okay, let's do something different today.
Right.
I would definitely give this a shot. Link in the description below to get the full recipe.
Yes.
And until next week, from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie.
And I'm Roman.
And we transform
Food.